Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to a special recording of The Unfiltered Truth. I am your host. With me is Phil Jones, off who knows where, but that's not even what's important right now. We've got Levi Edwards, Chief Week, 2022 grand finale of the season. All that for you and more today on The Unfiltered Truth. Let us start the show. And we're back. Phil, what's up? All right. Big Grizzly says yes. Levi, welcome to the show, brother. How are you?
I'm doing swell. How are you guys doing?
Outstanding. Swell, eh? We've reached the end of the road. It is week 18. We have the Kansas City Chiefs up this week. But before we could get to that, we got to cover you got to take us through last week. We had a big week against the Niners. What do we got going on in your eyes?
I think you have a group of guys. Obviously, last week the Raiders were still in playoff contention, so obviously they were, I guess, fighting for their lives to a degree to continue to see if they can continue their season. So they came out firing on all cylinders on offense, 500 total yards of offense. The unit looked really good, and they were clicking. Of course, obvious storyline is Jarrett Stidham getting his first start. And I think a lot of people had certain expectations of what Stidham would play like or what he would look like, especially considering how he played when he was in New England and the limited amount of time that he had. But I think that he shocked a lot of people, and my expectations of how he would play, I would say, were a little higher than the average fan. I would say, knowing what I know about the situation, but he even over that, he still played way above my expectations or what I believe that he would play up to.
So did you ever get a chance to see him past training camp, or was that kind of behind closed doors?
It's more behind closed doors. Of course, you get to kind of see little stuff in practice with warming up, and of course, even though he was the backup quarterback, he would still get reps with the starters because obviously in a situation like this, you would want the backup to have solid chemistry with the ones. If in case you are in a place like this where you have to step up. So I did see him get reps throughout the season with the starters and then warm ups and things of that nature. And also, we have the film to go off of from the preseason as well. Shout out Phil's cat. So
Right.
we definitely, uh, to a degree, knew what he was capable of, especially seeing the way that he extended plays with his legs and how he ran. We saw that in the preseason with the two rushing touchdowns. So kind of knew what we were getting with that.
No, it was incredible. I mean, I was curious to see what he would look like with the ones because he never really got a chance in the preseason. But what he was able to do was showed good command of the offense, the playbook as well. And I really thought that so there were some plays that were executed that we haven't seen a lot of, and we're not going to go deep in the strategy and whatnot, but the toughness. What did he earn the respect of his teammates? Let's start there.
I think he already had the respect of his teammates. I think a lot of people in the locker room knew what he was capable of, and even throughout the week going to the game, you could see a lot of excitement from, especially the wide receiver room. I would say like just throughout the week, us talking to Jared and doing things. you had the receivers kind of next to him, hyping him up during his media scrums or his media availabilities. Devontae was hyping him up, and Mac and guys like that, Keelan. So I think he's already had the respect of his receivers, and I know a lot of those guys in that locker room knew what he was capable of way more than any of us could have known, having been with him every day and practice with him. So I don't think he gained anything that he didn't necessarily already have. I think if he gained any respect, I think it's just from guys like us who watch from afar and can finally now see the work that's been put in behind closed doors.
Right. And it's been amazing. It took us from a virtual unknown situation to having pleasant conversations and I know there's no such thing as moral victories, but we got pretty damn close.
Yeah, I mean, there's no such thing as a moral victory, obviously, but that's not going to stop people. That's not going to stop people from being optimistic about the future. And despite whatever happens with the quarterback situation, when you look at this team and how they were able to perform against a top tier elite defense in this league, it's very optimistic moving forward. A, into the Kansas City Chiefs, and B, into the 2023 season.
Definitely agree. Speaking of the Chiefs, there was a stat. I think Patrick Mahomes needed 430 yards in order to take over the single season passing record.
I believe so. I'm not exactly sure what the exact number is, but I do know that he is now one of 3 quarterbacks in the NFL to throw for 5,000 passing yards and 40 touchdowns in multiple seasons. Magician.
Playing a lot of backyard football. I watched some of the routes that they had Travis Kelce, and I use the term routes loosely because he's just running all over the field. I mean, if you try to put it in terms of one of the numbers, it's just you can't.
No, Andy Reid does a great job of letting his players be creative and letting them use whatever at their disposal to kind of get the job done. I think that's why Patrick Mahomes is such like a perfect quarterback in this system, just because he's just a playmaker. Take out X's and O's, take out scheme, take out all of that stuff. Patrick Mahomes is a playmaker. He makes plays. He's going to get the job done. And I think Andy Reid kind of just allows him to, have do his own thing within reason of the team and within what's going on. But I think that he truly gives him the autonomy and the freedom to kind of do whatever he feels is necessary to win the game. Because, when it comes down to it, that's all that matters is winning the game. And I think that he has allowed Mahomes and Kelce and Jerick McKinnon, who I believe is going to be under the radar guy to watch out for this game. I think he gives all of those guys kind of the reason, kind of the wiggle room to do what they want to do. So, this is not brand new. This is going to be my 6th time seeing Patrick Mahomes do his thing against the Raiders since I've been covering the team. And when I think about the top 5 best football players that I've seen live in the flesh, Patrick Mahomes is in that top 5.
So how does the ball cut? I've watched him, I think maybe once, and I was up far away. How does does it really just explode off his fingertips the way that it looks like it does on TV when you're watching him warm up?
Yeah, well, the thing is that he just does things that he's just so unconventional. I think that's the best way to put it as a quarterback. He's just so unconventional. He's just going to make it happen. He's kind of like there's a guy who used to play for the Packers. He wore number 4. He kind of reminds me of him a lot, just in terms of his unconventional, style of play of just kind of like making stuff happen. And, it'd be stuff that you could see. And, if you were any other quarterback in the NFL, it would seem like it'd be a stupid decision to make. But he pulls it off because he's just that talented and that confident within himself.
Right. And it's just that completely unexpected that it just happens to work.
Correct. But I mean, he puts in the work though. But yeah, just great opponent. And for this young defense, I know a lot of the defenders on the Raiders, they're going to be out this game because of injuries. But this is going to be a great experience for guys like Tyler Hall and Luke Masterson to go up against Sam Webb to go up against a guy like this. Nate Hobbs, obviously he started, but still second year in the league. These guys get to go up against, what is considered the very best quarterback in this league. And for you to have those experiences against a guy like that, it it teaches you a lot, and it'll be a great experience for them moving forward in their careers. And hopefully, they can have great success against him this Saturday. Of course, the coaching staff, Patrick Graham, and all the position coaches are going to have them, with the right game plan to combat it. It's just all about going out there and executing it.
Absolutely. So you had mentioned injuries. How are they feeling? Because I know there's, I think it's teams are like 0-16 after playing the Niners because they get beat up and so thoroughly physically dominated. In that game, I think early on I saw it. Probably by about the second series, I was hip to it. But after the third one, I was like, "Yo, the Raiders really came to play today, and the Niners were not ready for this because they are whooping their tails up and down this field."
I think it has a lot to do with the fact that, I mean, when it comes down to it, the 49ers defense in particular, they made the very crucial mistake that a lot of the media made as well. And that's the fact that they either didn't know enough or they doubted Jarrett Stidham. And that's just what it looked like. And of course, they didn't have a whole lot to go off on film. When you're scouting a quarterback in his first NFL start, I mean, the only film that you have is of him from college. You really just kind of like have to watch the film from another quarterback because obviously, the system's not going to change just because it's a new quarterback. You feel me? So they
Right.
had to go over that. So I think that, not that they weren't prepared, but Jarrett Stidham was an element of surprise. And, whenever you have the element of surprise to a situation, it kind of, you know, it can catch you off guard. And so I think that they underestimated the situation and they didn't have a lot of film to go off on. So that's why this game will be so interesting to watch. Forget the records, forget implications, forget all that stuff. It's a division game, and this will be Jarrett Stidham's, kind of encore for the season to be like, look, I did that last week. You know, this is his opportunity to prove, like, look, that was not a fluke. I can be that guy if depended on. So it'll be interesting.
It definitely will be, and I mean, use a couple of the prominent players of this team are putting their bid in for him and backing their guy. And going into this particular offseason, a lot of people have been asking, what are they going to do at quarterback? Who are they going to get? Well, the answer has manifested itself in a very particularly team friendly situation, let's say.
Well, I'm gonna be honest with you. I have no idea what they're going to do at quarterback next year. I don't think any of us really know what's going to happen. Even as an inside guy,
Right.
as I am made out to be, those are decisions that are way above my pay grade, and I do not have enough insight in the world to know what will happen with that position. What I do know is that Jerry Stidham is in a position where he cannot control the future; he can only control the
Yep.
present. So all he can do is, like, he can't worry about things that are out of his control. He can't worry about decisions that are out of his control, that are above him. All he can do is put good tape on film, or good football on tape. Yeah, there
Yep.
we go. All he has to do is put good football on tape. That's all he has to do. Because whether it doesn't matter, whether he's a starter, a backup, whatever team you play for, it does not matter. When you get good football on tape, somebody will want you and somebody will feel that you are valuable to their team. So
Right.
that's all Jared Stidham has to do right now, is prove that he can be valuable to the Las Vegas Raiders.
Absolutely.
No doubt, no doubt. So, how do the Raiders win on Saturday?
They have to do the easier said than done task of stopping Patrick Mahomes. I think, I mean, if you watch back, the week 5, of course, this is two completely different teams. A lot of injuries, a lot of different personnel that's been added, brought back, things of that nature. But, when you go back to week 5, the Raiders had a very successful day on offense. They ran the ball really well. They found Devontae Adams deep down the field, and of course, I believe that the Chiefs have a very good front seven, but I definitely believe that their run defense and their secondary are kind of and I wouldn't say lacking because these are professional athletes, but it definitely is something that has statistically been down. So I would say that the offense, I believe, will try their best, even with Stidham, to do the best that they can against a Chiefs defense that has a couple of holes. So really, when it comes down to it, is the Raiders defense ready to get some stops when they need to get stops on one of the best, if not the best, quarterback in the league right now, with a top tier tight end, with a pretty solid run game, pretty solid offensive line. Um, it's going to be interesting. I think it'll be a shootout, if I'm being honest with you. I really do truly think we're going to see a shootout this Saturday.
That's what I would lean towards as well. I got a couple numbers for you that I'm going to throw out. You just answer 152 to get to 1760.
Josh Jacobs is questionable at the moment. I know that he's been dealing with some injuries, but he's been kind of away from the building with some personal stuff as well. So we have yet to see if he will play this Saturday. However, I will say this. Josh Jacobs has ran for 152 times, 2 times this season, one of those being week 5 against the Kansas City Chiefs.
Yes, he did.
Yep.
He did. And what does well, I guess you can't answer that question. Let's scale that back. You got anything for him, Jones?
No, I mean, he's basically hit on everything. And again, I want to keep it simple tonight. I'm not trying to have my man with ball standing right behind him like, what you doing, homie?
Oh, shoulder tap. Excuse me. No, right on. Levi, as always, brother, thank you for your time.
One last thing I will say, just in light of everything that happened on Monday, thank God that DeMar is doing a lot better. But it was a terrible situation, and something that you never want to see in this game. However, I want to just say that I'm so glad that he's doing better, and it was so scary. I know for a lot of us to witness, and it really just shows you how valuable life is. So, if you love somebody, if you respect somebody, if you appreciate somebody, let them know, because you never know when it could be the last time you to see him or talk to him. That's just kind of how I felt. So, all the best to him, all the best to his family, all the best to the Bills organization, and Phil. I appreciate you guys. I appreciate what you guys do. Thank you for having me on throughout the season. Definitely trying to, I guess you guys have been very instrumental in me trying to introduce myself to Raider Nation in this position. And I always want to make sure that I'm putting out the best work for the fan base that deserves so much. So I really do truly appreciate you guys.
Right on. We appreciate you.
Hey, exactly.
It's been wild.
We appreciate you and shit. We're happy to help. That we made you a fan favorite,
a household
in the nation.
name.
I would say fan favorite, but yeah, we're working towards it.
No, I think you are now. I promise.
But trust me, it's better that you're not a fan favorite, because then you won't get all of the lovely negativity that comes with it.
I'm really good on the level I'm at with. I wouldn't say the negativity, just the Khalil Mack comments. I'll just stick with that for now. I'm perfectly fine with that.
It's all good.
So if that's the extent amount of hate, if that's the top level of hate I have to deal with, it fine by me.
Yep, consider yourself lucky.
Yes, sir.
Yeah.
All right. For Phil, for Levi, this is the Unfiltered Truth. We are out.